The new year is a time when everyone wants to believe in miracles. We want that too, so today you're in for an unusual episode. We won't travel into the past, but far into the future. Let's say it's not 2026 anymore, but the year 2550. What will the world be like by that date, and will it even exist? We'll find out in the next couple of minutes. Let's start with the optimistic scenario. The good news is that technologies that are only just emerging in our time will be completely commonplace for people living in 2550. Take teleportation, for example. If you've missed the latest progress news, it's already a real thing today. Back in 2017, Chinese physicists from the Mischias project successfully teleported 911 photons from Earth into orbit. The distance involved was about 1,500 kilometers. The particles were teleported from an observatory in Tibet to a satellite flying overhead. Of course, a photon is tiny even by the standards of the quantum world, but the fact of its teleportation is undeniable. And 500 years is more than enough time for humanity to master this technology. In 1981, Bill Gates claimed that 640 kilobytes of RAM would be enough for everyone, and that anything more was unnecessary. Today, however, any smartphone contains thousands of times more. This means that progress will eventually turn the currently difficult task of teleporting photons into the teleportation of people, who, by the way, will look quite different as well. Even though it may seem that nature has been conquered, the laws of evolution continue to apply to humans. The average person today is much taller than their ancestors who lived a couple of centuries ago. Worldwide, average human height has increased by about 10 centimeters. Modern Dutch men and women have an average height of 184 and 170 centimeters respectively, which is 19 centimeters more than in the 19th century. Scientists debate the reasons, but they are fairly obvious: increased life expectancy, accessible medicine, and far more comfortable living conditions. When people have the money to live well, they do so. The human body follows the same principle. When it has the resources to grow, it grows and develops. Even if the rate of human growth slows down, in the year 2550 a 2-meter-tall person will not be anything unusual. They might even be considered short and become the subject of teasing jokes. However, it is quite possible that the body itself will no longer be such a fragile vessel as it is today. A few years ago, an article by neurobiologist David Glantz was published, in which he described the successful experiment on memory transfer. David has been studying long-term memory for over 30 years. In the experiment, the scientists subjected California sea slugs to electric shocks, inducing a defensive reflex. He then extracted their RNA and transferred it to other slugs, and miraculously, even though these animals had never been shocked, they already displayed the same defensive response. This was one of the first successful experiments proving that memory in living beings can be manipulated. In short, memory lapses will no longer be an issue. Some things will be corrected, others erased, and the school curriculum will likely be uploaded directly into the brain so no time is wasted. Sounds good, doesn't it? If we aim even higher, it's easy to dream of true immortality. After all, if memory can be extracted, the only remaining question is where to transplant it. This is where three-dimensional bioprinting already provides an effective answer. Ears and noses are now successfully printed on 3D printers, and recently a team in Israel printed a fully functioning human heart. In 500 years, printing an entire body with any desired face will be no problem. All that will remain is to transfer the memories into it, and voila, you're ready to live another 100 years. No more complexes about appearance, illness, or aging. Scientists are already making breakthrough after breakthrough in this field, and in 500 years these technologies will be available to everyone, much like modern sanitation, once a luxury even for European kings. And of course, when traveling to the year 2550, it's far from certain that we'll appear on Earth at all. It may be Mars or some other planet, as space expansion is inevitable. Resources are becoming more expensive every day, and there are no more of them appearing. Life is also becoming increasingly boring for many, and there has always been no shortage of enthusiasts eager to leave the planet behind. In 500 years, there will certainly be the means to do so. Elon Musk is actively improving propulsion systems, while scientists are searching for antimatter. With each passing year, we are getting closer to understanding dark matter, which, according to physicists, could enable a major leap in space travel. Ships capable of moving at near light speed would make it possible to reach Mars in a matter of minutes, meaning the emergence of a colony is only a matter of time. Our descendants will almost certainly, in their search for profit, reach out and lay their hands on every planet in the solar system. As for political systems, things are quite simple. Most likely, borders between countries will become a mere formality or disappear altogether. Today, Today, they play a decisive role in slowing down progress. There is little incentive to develop electric motors or thermonuclear reactors for cheap and environmentally friendly energy production when entire countries depend directly on selling resources and will cling to them to the very end. But this, too, is only a matter of time. Sooner or later, either resources will run out, or people's patience will. History has always shown that the best technologies were once the privilege of the elite, but with each passing year, that gap continues to blur. Today, almost anyone can afford the best smartphone. One day, the same will happen with human genome editing. People will have more time to grasp simple truths, for example, that borders and differences between countries are myths propagated for centuries, and that an ordinary Hans from Germany and one from China are, in fact, not fundamentally different from each other. Why isn't this happening now? Because there is no free time, everyone is busy working, but total robotization is inevitable. Even today, Amazon delivers packages by drones, and Uber is launching self-driving taxis. Millions of jobs are disappearing, to be replaced by new ones. Robots take over routine and simple tasks, while progress pushes people toward more creative thinking. Some governments are already coming to the conclusion that it is easier to provide people with a basic income than to maintain thousands of adult daycare centers. In 2017, Finland attempted to distribute money to people indiscriminately, and as a result, the experiment failed. However, discussions about basic income continue across Europe. The financial system has reached its ceiling. Banks are issuing loans at nearly zero interest rates. Nobel Prize laureate Milton Friedman even proposed the concept of helicopter money, arguing that it would be far easier for governments to shower citizens with money so they would spend it on goods and stimulate economic development. But this entire system, with its millions of useless brokers and extremely complex mechanisms, will sooner or later collapse once it reaches its limit. Something new will replace it. Perhaps the new currency will be body implants or even units of lifetime itself, as in a well-known film. But the idea that state violence against ordinary workers will have ended by the year 2550 seems quite plausible. There is a phenomenon known as the Flynn effect, which describes the steady increase in human IQ. One day, even the greatest fool will be smart enough to recognize the meaninglessness of propaganda. Of course, there is another way to maintain control over people. In a world where any fact can be verified online, this is becoming increasingly difficult. Year after year, Facebook is exposed for leaking user data, and the internet has long since lost its reputation as a safe and free haven. At the same time, Elon Musk and others are pushing the masses toward truly breakthrough technologies, while global economic growth stagnates. History shows that in such moments, states have often resorted to wars with millions of victims. So if we were to jump ahead to the year 2550, it is entirely possible that we would find ourselves in a post-apocalyptic video game-like scenario. After all, the next war risks being the last. Nuclear bombs, chemical weapons, and other means of mass destruction have reached their peak. All that remains is to hope that by the time the threat of apocalypse draws near, humanity will be able to reach a new stage of development and understand that Earth is the only one we have, and that it is time to stop thinking in the terms of the Stone Age. Happy New Year 2026, friends!